Failure in the moment seems like the worst possible thing to happen. You don't want failure, nobody does. But when it does happen, in the moment, sometimes you think of the worst outcomes and you get trapped in a cycle of negative thoughts. What I want to talk about today is success, and obviously success is relative to what your own beliefs are. But regardless of what your beliefs of success are, you're never going to be able to achieve that without going through failure and reaching the moment where you want to quit, but you push through and you persevere. Today I want to share a personal story with you all, a negative experience that happened in my life where it almost pushed me to the point of quitting everything. Do you guys drink coffee holding this, or do you hold this? I feel like I do both, but I don't know why I'm doing it like this right now. That's slurp ASMR. I want to start this off by sharing a few quotes with you all. The first quote is by Vincent Lombardi. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. The second quote is by Henry Ford. Failure is only the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. So to bring it back to my past a little bit, since I dropped out of college at the age of 20, I am no stranger to failure or disappointments and hurdles in my life. I dropped out of school with no real game plan. I tried pursuing a couple different things, music, clothing. I started doing photography, video, which, everything ended up leading me to where I am today. But through all of those experiences, I've had to overcome various different extremes of failure and disappointment, some not so, great, and some, could have been catastrophic to me or my career. And, I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't overcome those moments where I looked at myself in the mirror and said, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I'm going to quit. I can't bring myself to fail again. I just can't do it. Every time I had those moments, it was purely out of emotion. It was purely out of despair. It was out of emotion in the moment when I was going through something bad. And I realized that when you're going through failure, or you fail at something, you experience a disappointment or a mistake that has been made, very rarely are your initial thoughts clear. Very rarely are your initial thoughts sound because of the emotional state that you're in once you found out of that failure, disappointment, or mistake. And throughout my journey to become a DP, to become a better businessman, to become a better fiance, son, friend, YouTuber, podcaster, all the different things that I strive to get better at every single day, I've experienced failure in every one of those aspects. And, some of those failures could include, getting rejected, being told, no, you're not good enough, spending hours and hours and days on a YouTube video that you've planned and put all this time and energy into just for it to flop. Or more recently, a experience where I had one of the biggest podcast episodes of my life where I prepped for weeks. I made sure that this was going to be the biggest moment, and I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I put a lot of money into it as well, only to realize that we made a very small mistake in not recording my audio channel. And that is the experience that I was referring to in the beginning of this video. That thing that happened was a very recent experience for me, and it put me in a pretty dark place. For sure. It put me into a downward spiral that I couldn't get out of. I kept talking negatively to myself, self-deprecating. I kept asking, why me? Why does this have to happen to me? What did I do wrong to deserve this? And you would have never really known the backstory to this failure or me and my circumstances, because it's very rare that people will share their failures online, their circumstances other than positive, and showing that they are doing well. It's very rare that people show their vulnerability in the negative regard. And like many of you, I see people on social media and I get envious sometimes because I see all the success they're doing. I see all the good things. But I always forget to think about what is going on behind the scenes because it's very rare that anyone would share that. And I get messages from people saying those things about me. Oh, you must be doing great. This, that, and the other thing. Like, you are exactly what I want to be. Fill in the blank, whatever it is. Things that I feel about people are things that people feel about me in a way. And I think it's important for me to continue to open myself up to vulnerability and share my experiences with people to hopefully allow one of you to feel better, feel connected, feel like what you're going through isn't something that only you are going through. It's something that we all go through, and hopefully there's an aspect of relatability that can help one of you push past whatever it is that you're going through today. I experience failure more often than not. Part of the reason I have gotten to the place of where I am today is because I've continued to push past failure. I strive for excellence. I strive for the highest standard possible in anything that I do. And when it comes to that, when you start to get into that territory of constantly wanting to have the highest standard and you put that pressure on yourself, you're inevitably going to walk into moments of disappointment, failure, because not everything is going to live up to how you perceive it's going to or how you hope it's going to. And that's part of the trade-off. And I've recognized that. But it's those moments where recently I was driving home after realizing what had happened in the car for 2 hours in pure silence, just being done. And, in those moments, you never see what the lesson is you're being taught. And I didn't know what I was being taught in that moment. I kept asking, whoever it is that you want to talk to, I asked God, what is it that you're trying to teach me? Like, what is this lesson? Because I couldn't see it at all. It was hard for me to get out of it by myself. And I owe a lot to the people around me that support me, that love me, people that want to see me succeed, and people that are also very honest with me as well. Even though the lesson that I didn't think was there, or I didn't believe that there was a lesson at all, there is always a lesson. And sometimes it might take a little bit of time for you to see it. And for this particular scenario, the lesson was don't overlook the simple procedures. No matter how confident you think you are, no matter how big you think you are, how dialed you have everything, the simple procedures, the simple checklist to be able to make sure every single thing is done properly, everything's done correctly, and everything's done in order will ensure a smooth production, a smooth podcast, whatever it is, fill in the blank for you. The lesson was never overlook the simple things. And I could have had this lesson taught to me in a way that was way more detrimental. It could have been his audio, the guest, the person that spoke for 95% of the podcast. But no, luckily, by some grace of, some God or whatever it is that you believe in, that, it was mine. And it is a totally salvageable podcast. It is going to be out in the public. It is one of my best podcasts I've ever done. The conversation is one of the best I've ever had. The most fruitful, the most deep, the most intriguing, the most... you couldn't have asked for a better conversation. I wouldn't have gotten to that place where I recognized all the positives still of this without having confided with friends and family. So for those of you that are going through something that you feel like you can't get through it alone, or you're going through failure, going through disappointment, you made a mistake that you don't see a way out of, I encourage you to talk to people. I encourage you to talk to your friends, your family, anyone that could be an objective person to be able to see what is going on, to be able to help you through it and see how you can improve, see the lesson that was being taught in that moment. And to bring it back to the quote by Henry Ford, failure is only the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. And so obviously, based on the story that I just told you, it is not a career-ending podcast. It is not a career-ending mistake. It is not a life-ending mistake. I'm going to have more podcasts. I'm going to be able to do them better than I did before. I'm going to have better conversations than I did. And by doing that, I am approaching everything I do more intelligently, with more humbleness, a better background in understanding the fundamentals and checking off the simple procedures. And I know that in the future, those mistakes will never be made again because of the lesson that I was taught. I think it's important as a person, as a human, to recognize these moments in your life, because for me, I hope to be a dad one day, and these are all lessons, these are all moments that I hold deep in my heart and hopefully will be able to share with my future children one day and be able to provide them with my life experiences in order to help shape them to have a better future for themselves. So these lessons, these failures, these disappointments are not only for yourself, but they can be lessons that you can pass along for your future generations to be able to provide for your family and friends and people that you care about. So throughout this conversation that I share with you, hopefully you can read between the lines and see what this message is really all about. And if you believe in something, if you are pursuing something wholeheartedly, failure is inevitable. You're going to experience it. It's going to happen. And the more ambitious you are, the more willing the more you are willing to take risk, the more you'll see failure, the more you'll see disappointment, but the more you will see success as well. But you will only be able to see that success once you push past those moments and those days of failure and disappointment. These moments and these lessons will help build strength and endurance to be able to live a long life or have the longevity in whatever career or passion that you're pursuing. And like I said, it's hard to do it alone. So confide in friends, family, seek help if you need it. And I encourage you all to continue to strive for excellence, push yourself to the highest standard at all times. So hopefully you enjoyed today's message on failure and how failure can breed success if you push past those moments. And for those of you that want to listen to this on your drives and whenever you want, this will be available on my podcast, The Creative Gap. And for those of you that are watching this on my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button if you like it, hit the like button, comment, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to think. And again, for those that are interested, check out my podcast, The Creative Gap. We have tons of conversations with amazing guests, and I'll be doing a ton of more of these solo episodes and sharing my personal experiences. So hopefully you enjoyed today's message. Have a great day, everyone. Peace out.